everybody, it's J.Renee, and we are back with episode 1 of the I Want It All podcast, a real place where we have real conversations about life, faith, business, and not just wanting it all, but having the audacity to go for it all. Again, I'm your host, J.Renee, and we're back with
your favorite co-host ever.
This is the only co-host I've ever had, and we just started.
What's up, world? Glad to be back.
I know you guys are waiting like, all right, when is it coming? We got great feedback for the pilot.
Yes.
Really good feedback. And so we're here today for episode 1. Today's episode is called The Power of the Pivot. In the pilot episode, we kind of gave, that was our introduction, kind of getting to know us, setting the stage for where we are, where I am in my idea around this podcast. And just in case you missed it, go back and watch it because I'm not going to say all that stuff again. But we really talked about just kind of what brought me to the place of doing this podcast, what my idea behind it was, and the reason why I'm doing it now. And one of the big reasons why I'm doing it now is because of the fact that I am in the biggest pivot of my life. Now, I'm no, what's the word?
Maybe stranger. There you go.
I'm no stranger to pivots, okay? Mm-hmm. I've done this before, but this pivot is probably the biggest. The stakes are the highest, and it's been a whirlwind. Yeah. It's been a challenge, and this pivot has happened in so many different areas of my life
simultaneously
at one time. So I shared in the first episode that about a year and a half ago, I had a come to Jesus moment, and I told my mom that I realized that I do not like my life. And I was actually thinking yesterday, it's so many people out there that are struggling right now because they have committed themselves to living lies, to maintaining lies, because if they tell themselves the truth, they don't know if they can handle what happens afterward. And I think sometimes we kind of have to psych ourselves out. Like, we've all been in spaces where it's like, I'm sick of this, I'm tired of this, but, I got to keep going, because if I allow myself to feel what I'm feeling, then I'm not going to be able to do this.
And the tough reality, like, I created this. Yes. I worked darn hard to build this.
And how do I have the audacity to not like something that I created?
Yeah.
I made these decisions. I created this life. I moved to this place. Yep. I built this business. I got in this relationship. Whatever the situation may be, it is hard to digest. Yep. Like, I created this, but I don't think home is here anymore. And so I had that epiphany about 18 months ago. And I said, God, I don't like this. And I don't want to do it anymore. And when I say it, I mean my whole life. I'm let's be very clear about something. I'm extremely blessed. God knows I'm extremely blessed and grateful for the opportunities that I've been afforded, for the accomplishments that I've been able to see. I literally built a multi-million-dollar company from scratch. And I will never fix my mouth to say I'm ungrateful, because I am grateful. And I think that a lot of times people struggle with being honest about what they feel about the place that they're in, because they think that it's coming off as them being ungrateful. And I'm not ungrateful. I just know home is not here anymore. And I also know that this is good, but it gets better. And I think that we struggle with being able to admit that too, because we're supposed to be content. So
that's loaded.
It is.
It
is. But we're going to unpack this today.
Let's do it.
We're really going to unpack this today. So I said, God, I don't like this. I'm ready to move forward. I really want to start over, but I feel stuck. And God was like, essentially, you're not stuck. It's going to hurt. It's going to be hard, but you're not stuck. And so that began 18 months of unraveling.
Roller coaster.
It started, so many people ask me how I ended up coming into the ministry sector. And that was really the beginning. First of all, I'm not new to it, obviously. But that was something that I had said I'm completely and totally done with. I had no interest in it. But that was like the beginning of all of these little things where I said, God, this is how I feel. This is what I want. And I'll do whatever you tell me to do. And everything that came after was nothing.
Just like God, unravel everything.
Yeah, and he literally
unravel it all.
And that's something. I'm so glad you said that.
Powerful.
Boy.
He speaks to me.
But seriously, a lot of times we want the new, but we don't want to unravel the old. We don't want to have to go through the heartbreak, the chaos. We don't want to have to go through people talking about us.
Yep.
Fortunately, I don't care. Wah.
Here we go.
No, but I mean, I think everybody, for me, it wasn't so much, I never cared about people talking about me as much as it was, I didn't want to deal with people asking me questions and expecting me to answer what's going on. And I mean, people that have a relationship with me, I didn't want to have to deal with that. Forget public perception. You know, I just didn't want to have to deal with that. And so even in the midst of all that, I had the audacity to still say, you know what? I've been here before. I'm not new to this. I've never been in this particular space, but this is not the first time I've pivoted. So today, I really, I want to take a deep dive into what it means to pivot. How to know, number one, how do I know it's time to pivot? How do I know that my season is up? What do I do when I get to that place? And, you know, what does it look like going in? Like, where does my mind need to be? What needs to happen? And I know a lot of you, you know, I was just sharing with our producer host, I don't know what we call him. We were just having a conversation before we started recording just about how this is a season where so many things are being unearthed. Like, this just seems to be a time where everything is being shaken up, you know? And my goal for this conversation today is, number one, I want to give strategy. I want to give tools, but I also want people to know that it's okay.
It is okay. And you're not by yourself.
It's okay to shift.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay if you know your season is up, if you know it's time for you to move, like, it is okay. And you're going to be okay. It might be a messy middle. But it's okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's get into that. Like, first of all, let me tell y'all something. I was telling Evan before this, we really didn't talk much about today because I really wanted us to just have an organic conversation. But I was telling Evan, I think Evan is a good, he's a good juxtaposition for me. He's a good opposing personality for me to have this conversation, because I be saying all the time, Evan is all over the place. Like, Evan today, he will want to open up a Wendy's franchise. And Smoothie tomorrow, Smoothie King.
There you go. Smoothie King.
And then tomorrow, Evan is going to want to move to Houston and be an astronaut. And every time that he says whatever his new idea is, he means it. Like,
because I'm actually on my way to dental school.
Y'all, Evan...
I haven't applied yet, but
so
I found one.
I've been encouraging Evan to be more active on social media, all these things. And, you know, especially get active on TikTok. And Evan go get his happy pants on TikTok the other day and announced to the world that he's decided he's going to dental school. And he was serious.
To Tufts in Boston. All because I was in Boston for work.
Literally. He walked past a school in Boston.
I'm going to go there.
At a job that he's actually doing very well in.
That I actually really love.
What do you do, Evan? Tell the people, what do you do? Have you ever told the people what you do? Tell the people what you do.
I'm not really a coach, even though my name is Coach Ev.
You're not a coach?
Not a coach.
Why are you
People
lying?
think I'm a basketball coach all the time.
That's like, well, you know what? That's like them people that be calling themselves, never mind.
Honorary doctorate?
No, I was just saying. Anyways.
Well, by day, I work in the technology space, ed tech, education technology. People don't realize that, you know, back in the day we had textbooks. All that stuff is going on. It's obsolete now. All that stuff is on tablets. So I work with tablets.
So what else have you done?
Before then, I was a state-of-the-art business coach, small business development, help people take their dreams and really bring it to life.
Come on,
Everything
state
from
of the art.
state of the art, one of a kind. Everything from business development, business startup, but also sometimes just executing dreams. Even how I met Jay. My introduction to you, you were having an amazing event.
How did we meet, Evan? Let me tell y'all.
Okay, 'cause
Let me tell y'all how me and Evan met. So we were actually introduced by somebody I was dating at the time. Did you know I was dating him?
I don't think so.
Well, he knew by the time.
I did know.
After our first conversation, he knew that. But we were introduced by somebody I was dating. I was having a panic attack because I had a really good opportunity to do an event, and I had to do it really fast. And
Almost
I was
like overnight.
Yeah, it was like a week. And I was hosting a celebrity for an event, and I was like, oh my God, I need help. I called the person I was dating at the time. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And he was like, I got the person for you. He'll make it happen. He three-ways Evan. And we start talking, and by the time we got off the phone, Evan had planned out my whole event. I think he sent me an email, and he was like, do this, do this, do that. Like, his brain was just like, and then.
And I'm actually not an event planner.
He's not. He has he has the ability to be able to
make complex things simple.
Yeah. Or you know how I'll say that you're somebody who's an asset to a visionary. Like I'm
loving this affirmation. Keep going. Honor me.
Now I'm going to change my mind. But I think the reason why so many visionaries don't maximize their potential is because they don't have a good team, or they don't have key people with them to help execute. And I mean, let me be very clear. You get on my nerves a lot because sometimes I just be saying stuff and you feel like you need to dissect and strategize and lay out what I'm saying. And I'm not asking you to do that. But you do that. And so that was how I met you. But so you've pivoted, you've lived in different cities. Where, what's your experience with pivoting?
I feel like every couple of months my life goes through some sort of pivot. But for sure every year or two though.
Sometimes.
I kind of similar to you, Jay. I've been blessed to be able to do a lot of different things. I have in education technology now. I've been a full-time entrepreneur, been a pastor. Worked in
not you said on the World Wide Web.
I was an executive pastor.
No, you said what you meant the first time.
So it's I've been blessed to be able to.
And Evan flows heavily in the gift of healing.
This is awkward. Turn the cameras off. But nonetheless, I have had the opportunity to pivot quite regularly. To the point now where I'm not afraid when it pops up again. And I think it kind of goes back to what you mentioned earlier. So people are afraid of that unraveling. I'm not the spooky person anymore, but it's almost like when you can settle in the fact that unraveling is really a holy thing, it allows you to embrace where you're going next.
And ultimately, all things are going to work for your good.
Everything's going to work out. It may not feel good in the moment, but it's going to work out.
I think that's something that I'm learning just with age. I love this trending sound with Cheryl Lee Ralph. It always works out for me.
Every time.
Always works out for me. That's something I have to remind myself. Even in this chaotic season that I've been in, everything always works out. Working out doesn't always look the same. I may not be in the place that I want to be in. I may not have the money that I necessarily want to have. I may not be driving what I want, but I'm going to be okay.
Every single time.
And one thing about me, baby, I'm a hustler. I'm going to get me some money.
I will get to you.
I remember when I had made the decision to close my business, I was just really emotional. And one of my friends that said to me, I was like, I'm about to be starting over with nothing. She said, one thing for sure, you ain't going to have nothing for long.
That's true.
Because, baby, I'm going to get me some money. You know what I'm saying? That's just who I am. But what did you think when I told you I was closing the business? What was your first thought?
Oh, man. I actually thought that you were a little crazy. Because I've seen you build something and maintain it in a level that the average person never finds. And in the back of my mind, I was automatically thinking, okay, you have this on autopilot. Why do you have to stop it? Just add whatever the new thing to your life, because this seems to work well. How you're not at the center of it all, even though it may look like you are. And I was like, why does she have to do that? But when I stopped for a second, I recognized the journey that you were on now. It's, oh God, I hate to say it, but when God really comes into your life, things really do get flipped inside out.
Unraveling.
I remember when, we were barely going to church, and then next thing you know, she's preaching. And I'm just kind of like,
Yeah, and we was living our lives.
living a good life, you know, but it was just kind of like,
Ooh, we had
even
a
with-
time.
even with that, I remember, you know,
We
I said,
still have a time.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear. Because just because, you know, you could be saved and have fun.
Absolutely.
Because I still live my life. I still have a good time.
as you should.
I'm young, single. I'm a baddie.
Okay, here we go. Really back in, you know, but
I have to say that because
Yeah,
so
you do.
many people,
Absolutely.
so many people refer to their life before God or before
Yeah.
their come to Jesus moment as the glory days. You know, your
It
life
doesn't
don't
have
have
to
to be
end.
over
you don't have, yeah,
just because you
that
know.
could be a whole episode.
No, we will. We will talk about that. Maybe we talk about that next time. But you know, it's that. Why do I keep setting Evan up to come back? But no, I gotta get. Anyways.
Yeah.
But you know, it doesn't. The point that I'm making is your life doesn't have to be over, and
Absolutely.
I think we just need to stop glorifying life before Jesus as, oh, it was so fun, and now, you know, like, no, it's still fun. I still have fun. But
Back to the pivot.
but so I want to, let's start with this. We've kind of started to unravel this. How do we know when a season is up? How do we know when it's time to pivot? I know at this point, again, I'm no stranger to pivoting.
Yeah.
And so there's kind of a checklist
Okay.
that I go through on how do I know a season is up? First thing, how do I know a season is up? How do I know it's time to pivot? The first thing is that you get miserable.
Absolutely.
Let me be very clear about
Yeah.
something. Being miserable is not having a bad day. Being miserable is not being tired.
Yep.
Being miserable is not being bored. Misery is a very specific feeling. Things that used to be easy
Yeah.
start to become very hard.
The little things, those little tasks. It's the little tasks. Yep.
Things that you used to be able to do with ease, it starts to feel very, very heavy. Like I knew with my business, I've carried a very big load for a long time. And that's honestly part of the reason why I had that come to Jesus moment, because it's like when you've been doing it, again, you got to
Yeah.
psych yourself out. You know, I'm carrying huge overhead. I got employees. I got an office. I got this big house. I got this expensive car. I got all of this stuff. And it's like I have to psych myself out so I don't mentally or consciously acknowledge how heavy all this is. I don't consciously acknowledge the fact that I have to generate 6 figures a month to keep this moving.
Yeah.
I just do it, you know? And I had a moment where I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like the way it feels.
Yep.
And once I said it out loud, I ripped the Band-Aid off. I literally acknowledged the misery.
That's the courage right there.
Yeah,
To
it
pull
is.
Like,
Pull it off. I had to acknowledge I am miserable. This is not a season. This is not a week. This is not a bad day. I am miserable.
absolutely.
You know, and I remember like when I was living in Nashville before I moved to Atlanta, I went through a similar season when I was about to transition from doing hair, because so many of you know me, you met me in the boutique J.Renee era, but before that, I was actually a hairstylist and makeup artist for many years. And when I got to the space where I knew when I began that like God told me 5 years.
Okay.
5 years in this salon sector. And I was about to I was in the 5th year going into year 6, and I wasn't ready to pull the plug. I couldn't figure out how, you know, what would be next, but I just started to become miserable. I hated my house all of a sudden, you know, even just going through the motions, going to work, going to church, like everything was just like, I was miserable.
I want to say something. The fact that you even were keen enough to hear you had a 5-year window. I
Yeah.
think if more people approach like life and situations or God and that, like, hey, you know, how long am I supposed to do this? It would kind of defeat us overstaying our welcome.
I'm so glad you brought that, like you put a pin right there, because one thing I can say as a visionary, like I've been a seer my whole life. I've been a
Ooh, you're
dreamer.
so saved, so seer. What is that?
I wasn't even saying that within the context of
I get
church
it.
terminology, but I mean, I am, but but God has always shown me big pictures of my life.
Absolutely.
And something that so many visionaries struggle with is we see these big pictures and immediately we translate that to pressure.
Mm-hmm.
We translate that to like strategy. We translate that to let me figure out how to make it happen.
Yes.
And I've learned that it's a gift for God to trust you with vision.
Yes.
But him trusting you with vision doesn't mean that all of a sudden you become the driving force, and you have to be able to stay sensitive to know like, okay, God has shown me this big picture, but I have to keep my ear to him so I know, hey, it's time to take a turn. It's time to take a turn. So even though pivoting has been scary for me over the course of my life, like you said, I've been able to do it with a little more ease, knowing like, okay, this is a God thing. It's time for me to shift.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I know this shift is not me he's not making me jump off a bridge. You know what I'm saying?
May feel like it.
Yeah, but this is an intentional step towards the next.
Absolutely.
So I say number one, you become miserable. And number two, the second thing that I would say is that you feel like you've maximized everything that you can do in that space. And it's very important to ask yourself that. I always tell, anytime people come to me and they're like, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to do that no more. I always ask, have you maximized your potential in the space? One thing I hate about, I love millennials, but I hate the fact that we are the generation that quits everything.
We'll move on in a heartbeat.
We don't stick nothing out.
Yeah.
Every time I'm teaching entrepreneurs, one thing that I always remind them, when you look at like a lot of the statistical metrics, the earmarker that they use typically is 5 years. Okay? And if you can make it past 5 years, you can make it. They say that about marriage. They say that about business. But most people won't even stick nothing out for 5 years. We don't
5
live in the
months.
same place for 5 years. We ain't going to stay at the same job. We're not going to stay in the same career. Let me tell you, I built a multi-million-dollar company because of the fact that I stuck it out.
Yeah.
If I would have quit the first time the wind blew and I was annoyed, if I would have quit the first time I lost money, I never would have got to this point. You know what I'm saying? And even some people that see success fast, they still don't stick it out. But I say, that it's time to move when, hey, look, I've done everything that I can do here. I can genuinely say I've given this my all. I've genuinely tried my hardest. And before you pick up your Nikes and your sweater and put it in your suitcase, I ask yourself that.
Yeah. Have I done it all?
Have I maximized my potential in this space? Now, that doesn't mean I've done every single thing. That means I've done everything I can do in this space. I've given all of me in this space, And the last thing, which I think is the biggest thing, having the peace of God. When you know, you know. Now, and something I always say is that peace is not the absence of chaos. Peace is the presence of God even in that space. It's an undeniable feeling that this might be crazy, but God is with me. And I think a lot of times people look for everything to be okay before they make a move. They think peace means all the pieces are coming together.
Not.
It all makes sense. And that it doesn't necessarily mean that. Because I think, when I think about my pivots and the moves that I've made, almost all of them felt chaotic. Have you ever had a season where you transitioned and it was just all smooth?
No, absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you moving here from Chicago, starting life over.
Completely.
And this was the second time you did a total life start over. Was it smooth?
No.
Y'all, that was
chaotic.
That was a chaotic season.
I'm just glad I made it out.
Oh, that was chaotic.
Thank God for good friends.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, ooh.
All right, not too much.
Yeah. But it was chaotic. But the biggest thing, like I said, I want people to know is that just because it's chaotic doesn't mean that God is not there.
Let me ask you a question. So, because most people, including myself and those that we do life with and been around, we always default to thinking that it's time to pivot when everything is bad. Like speaking for you, like you are pivoting while still on the up.
Yeah.
Like talk to that person, because I truly believe if we can master that, we can master stepping away when it's not bad. It can kind of like, give you some direction. And most importantly, it can catapult you to whatever's next. Because I do believe that the pivoting component that we're probably all experiencing right now is because there truly is something else out there for us.
It is.
And I love what you said in your point number 3. Have you maximized? Maybe number 2, have you maximized this space? Have I done all that I need to do?
Yeah.
So what would you say to that person?
It's hard.
Yeah.
But I think that when you're in a while things are good, but feeling those things, that magnifies it even more. I mentioned that one of the hardest things for me with letting go of my business was the fact that, or has been the fact that the business is still making money.
I still see your ads, by the way.
Because the business is still rolling. And I've totally pulled back, like advertising, dropping new product, my normal run of business, I haven't been doing, and I'm still making money, and it's hard to wrap my brain around shutting something down that's still generating revenue. But just because it's still making money doesn't mean that this is the best way for me to go. Something that I've been praying about, and again, this is why I teach what I teach in my classes. There's so many things that I did not do from the beginning that if I had known my company was going to grow to this point, I would have done totally different.
Okay. Yeah.
From the initial infrastructure, from the way I did my finances, product acquisition. It's so many things that I would have done differently. And so sometimes what we think is good is good enough. What we think is good is the best we gonna get. Ooh! A lot of times what you think is good is just the best you're gonna get in that place. That doesn't mean it's that good. Let me tell you, I don't eat pork or beef. I've been talking about how I want to eat steak again because one thing about me, this is one of my tragic flaws, but I am a steakhouse guru.
World could be crumbling. You know what she's gonna do?
Oh, I'm gonna go out to eat, and I'm gonna eat good.
It's gonna be white tablecloths.
I ain't going to Applebee's.
A dress code. Like, what's going on?
Baby, I'm gonna eat.
I'm crying, but here I am.
Literally, I'm gonna eat good. But one thing one thing I've been saying lately, as I've been talking about how I want to eat steak again. When I used to eat steak, I didn't even have money like that. So I was eating at like a Longhorn. I mean, let's be very clear. I still love Longhorn.
And I love Outback.
Yeah, I love Outback too. I love, their chicken tenders. I still eat that now. But the point that I'm making is that's not the top of steak.
Yep.
I ain't know nothing about no Wagyu and, so now that I'm in a different season of my life, I'm like, wow, it got better than what it was then. And so many people, we pull up and stop because we think this is the best. The whole time, this is just the best of what you have right here.
Right here.
This is the best of what you're exposed to. In Clarksville, Tennessee, where I grew up, the best steak you was going to get was at Longhorn.
And it probably wasn't even in Clarksville. Was it in Nashville?
No, it was. First of all, stop playing with me. I don't know who you think I am, where you think I'm from, what type of country bumpkin city you think I'm from. We got a mall. We got places to eat. We got all that. Stop playing with me.
Not a mall. Wow.
Stop. No, but seriously, the best steak you might get might be Texas Roadhouse, something like that. But still, the point that I'm making is that there's better. And now I'm in a new season of my life and I can have better. So don't be afraid to let go of the best of this season because it gets better.
It does.
You know what I'm saying?
And don't be afraid to let go with that version of you.
Right.
Because a lot of times pivoting is not really about always changing careers or cities. Sometimes it's divorcing or coming out of agreement with that version of you that you work so hard to build.
Coming out of agreement, but I'm supposed to be the one that's saying.
But it's like that version that you've built. Like think about like the you that you were having to walk away from or part ways with for this next season.
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy? I actually, before today, I was recording a makeup tutorial.
Let me just insert this. If you guys follow her on social media now, you probably see lots of personal content with the products and all that kind of stuff. I remember when she wouldn't do that.
That's what I was about to say.
I said it for you. Like not even 6 months ago wouldn't do it. But go ahead, tell your story.
So I was just recording a makeup tutorial today, and during the tutorial, I did a tea time.
Okay.
And so by the time this airs, you guys might have seen it, but I did a tea time where I was talking about the real reason why I have shied away from doing anything pertaining to beauty, makeup, hair. I even pulled away. Let me tell you, first of all, I put it on. I put it on. And I be putting it on and not posting it. But for many years, I felt like people wouldn't take me seriously if they... I felt like because of the fact that I had a fashion brand, I had a background in the beauty industry, I desperately wanted people to see me. I wanted people to see that I'm an intelligent, well-spoken, prolific speaker. You know, I wanted people to see that part of me, but I felt like people just cared about, oh, makeup, hair. Oh, where'd you get your outfit from? You know, I can't tell you the letdown of being excited that a booking request came in and me thinking somebody wants me to come to their conference to speak and they want me to come to a fashion show. That used to break my heart.
I remember that. A few of those.
It's happened a lot, you know. That used to really break my heart. And so I struggle with trying to figure out how to present myself as who I am, but how to become who I feel like I'm supposed to be. You know, how do I have these dreams, these visions. You know, I've seen visions of myself on stages in arenas, and I've gotten all these prophecies and, you know, all this stuff. And all I see is, oh my God, you got new arrivals in? You know, when you gonna get some new clothes, Jay? I'm gonna buy some. You know, I struggle.
I'm smart too.
Yeah, you know, I struggle with that. But this season of my life has really been about a different level of submission in the regard of, I'm not telling God no when it comes to anything. I'm not telling God no, and I'm not telling opportunities no. You know, and I've come to terms with the fact that what's for me is going to be for me. I can't make things happen, you know, and if this is what I'm supposed to be, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, in due season it's going to happen, you know. And so I've gave myself permission to fully show up.
There it is.
You know, I done messed around and become a whole beauty influencer on TikTok. You know, and so many opportunities have come as a result of that. I've been able to work with some amazing brands. Doors have been opening, but it's not the doors that I was looking for. But I've said, you know, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
The version of me that got me to the place that I'm in, that she did what she was going to do.
There it is.
Now, if this is the space that I need to fully step into and embrace, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
So even with that, let's talk about.
Just echoing you. I'm
okay,
with that.
once we know it's time to pivot, what's step one? What do? Do you just get up the next day and quit your job? Do you go apply?
You want me to answer that?
Probably not. But do you go apply? Do you apply to dental school? Do you know, what do you do? What's the first step when you recognize that the season is up?
Contrary to popular belief, with me, I believe first thing you should do is sit still.
Yeah.
Life is loud. Emotions are louder. And when you are wrestling with the big change or the big change for that season, you can't do it with a lot of stuff in your ear.
Yeah.
I remember, you know, as you were making some of your pivots, you shared some stuff, but you didn't share everything in the beginning because you really had to find stillness. Because in that space, you can actually sort through your own thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, not saying forget hearing from God, but you have to sort through your own emotions in that too, because that pivot or whatever pivot you're going through is going to require you to show up in a different way that you have not been.
And also you have to understand, or you need to be sure that you're moving with strategy, with wisdom, and that is God, and it's
right
not
time.
your emotions.
Yeah. Because your emotions will have you pivoting out of something that you were gonna have to pivot back to.
Right. And then, you know, something, you know, Giles and I were talking about before you got here, is that a lot of times God will tell you something years before.
Absolutely.
You know, like when I was a hairstylist, you know, I was working in the salon and God told me 5 more years. Now, what if I would have got up and quit then?
Yep.
You know, that's not necessarily how this works. And, you know, even we talk about, you know, I told you guys, this season I'm in started with me having this confession moment. But even then, that was October of 2024. No, that was September of 2024. Y'all didn't know nothing was happening until the first indicator of J.Renee was shifting was like February. That was when I did my first sermon in February.
I'm going to go back. I think the first indicator of you shifting was when you told me that you had joined the music ministry at your church.
I never joined the music ministry.
Well, you was up there. You had a mic in your hand. You were singing. Because I know, like, part of your journey, you were like, and even though you're musically inclined and you can do those things, that was never a space that you were ever looking to step back into.
Yeah, no, I'm still not. Let me be clear. I'm still not looking to step back into that.
That's not the point.
The point that let me help you rephrase that. I actually started to get involved because I went to church, and first of all, I didn't go to church for years. Number one. Then when I went back, I sat there and did nothing. I would just leave. Mm-hmm. So really what you're speaking to is me actually getting involved and starting to like do stuff.
But that's when I realized that things with you are changing.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful thing.
Because I had no desire to ever be involved in anything related to church ministry, anything ever again in my life.
And we're so glad that you said yes, because look at where things are now. Sit with that. But the second thing I was going to say outside of sitting still was that I think that you've mentioned a couple times, having the courage to ask God when. When I recognized when I've made mistakes or bad pivots or bad choices, it was simply because I never stopped to ask, well, when? Because you're right, God will show you stuff for later down the line, and you doing it now, and it's 5 years from now, you're going to set yourself up to fail. And I think that's probably a space where most of us don't think to, let me just ask God, is this right now? Because he does operate from the future.
Yeah. And so I think that having it's a lot of courage.
All of it.
It's courage at every step. But I was about to say, it takes courage to know that your season is up, but still be able to sit still.
Yep.
Because a lot of times sitting still requires you to go to the same job. It requires you to still show up in the same place that you know that no longer serves you. It requires you to, even though I knew I was closing my business in I knew I was closing my business in like September.
Okay.
I didn't tell anybody. I think I told you probably within a week or so, but I didn't tell anybody else. I really kind of pulled away because I wasn't ready to talk about it. And it was so hard for me to continue showing up, even like with my staff. And I still had to be quiet until I knew what my next steps were, you know, and every pivot, every revelation does not have to be an announcement.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to announce to the world, I'm done with this. This no longer serves me. Yeah. I'm done. You know, everything doesn't have to be an announcement. Sometimes you do need to sit still. You do need to be quiet. And you do need to just soak and allow God to show you like what your next steps are. And, you know, the next thing that I was going to end with, or the next thing I was going to go to and end the podcast with was, you know, what do you do? But, you know, ultimately, what is the, not the takeaway, but what is the attitude, the mindset, where do you need to be if you're that person that, hey, you know your season is up, you're trying to figure out what's next, where does your mind need to be in this? And the biggest thing that I want people to hear today is, number one, be honest. Number two, it is going to take courage. You're going to have to make some hard decisions. But the biggest thing, be open.
Yep. Yeah.
Be open. I think we both can attest, which, you know, I'm going to let you, you know, talk on this. But I've known that seasons were up. I've known it was time to pivot. And still, once I pivoted, everything still looked totally different than what I thought it was going to be. Let me tell you, I never in a million years, if you would have told me 10 years ago I would be living in Atlanta, Georgia, I would have said you a doggone lie. When I say I never wanted to move to Atlanta, first of all, I am a single Black woman that desires a husband. Atlanta is not where you go looking for a man. Let me tell you. I always tell people, Look, girl, if you moving to Atlanta, that's cool, but don't come here. Don't come. Have a realistic perception of what's going to happen in Atlanta. It's a thriving place.
Mhm.
You know, you can really have a good time. You can really excel professionally. You know, but don't come to Atlanta looking for no man. And at that time, 10 years ago, you know, marriage was still really, really in the front of my mind. And I'm not saying that I don't desire marriage. I can't wait for us to talk about that. I'm not saying that I don't desire marriage, but my heart and mind is in a different place. You know, you know, everything is going to come after that. You know, my husband, my family, woo, woo, woo. So when I got to that place where I was like, I know my season is up. It's time for me to make a move. Number one, I was not thinking about leaving Nashville. I'm from Tennessee. This is the area that I grew up in. I was well connected. You know, I was doing very well, thriving business. You know, I wasn't thinking about moving. But then when I felt that it was time to move, I was planning to move to Houston.
Really?
Yes. And the crazy thing is, the weekend that I would have moved to Houston was when the big hurricane happened.
Okay.
When when everybody was inside, what's Joel Osteen's church?
Lakewood.
Like when everybody was like inside the dome, that literal weekend would have been the weekend I moved to Houston. That was the weekend I moved to Atlanta. But I was not thinking.
So that storm was your fault.
What?
Jonah?
No. I was not thinking anything about Atlanta. But I knew it was time for me to press reset. I knew it was time for me to pivot. So I fasted for 30 days. And my prayer was, God, whatever you tell me to do, whatever you tell me to go, wherever you tell me to go, my answer is yes. I'll do whatever. I fasted for 30 days. And at the end of the 30 days, which is something, again, a lot of times we want to put God on the timeline. 30 days, I didn't know. The next day, I had went to a service and I heard God say, Atlanta, go now. Literally, go now. This was June of 2017. My house was on the market in July. It sold in 8 days. And I was in Atlanta August 30th, 2017. In May, I started fasting. June, he said Atlanta. July, house is on the market. July, August, closed my business, closed my salon. I was in Atlanta by the end of the month. That fast. And again, Atlanta was never on my forecast. And then, you know, everything that's just kind of transpired over the last several years, it's just been, there's some things I expected, but so much of it was unexpected. And even as I'm at this place where I'm pivoting now, my biggest thing has just been remaining open.
Yeah.
You know, I told my mom, you know, my prayer has been, God, I'm open to different opportunities. I'm open to different streams of income. I'm open to this going a different way than I planned. And I think that that's the most important thing when you get to a space of pivoting. Like, you may not have all the answers. You're probably not going to have any.
You're actually not.
You know, it's very few.
You'll get them as you go.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. When I was moving to Atlanta, I remember the scripture that was like really the anchoring thing for me. I had read the story of Abraham. And of course, we know Abraham to be the father of nations, and we know all these great things about Abraham. But before he became what we knew him to be, God told him to take all your stuff, leave your home, leave everything you used to, and go to the land that I will show you. He told Abraham to leave.
Yep.
He didn't tell him where he was going. He just said, trust me, get up and go.
Yep.
And I think that that's something that I've had to settle in. That, I know. That's something I've had to settle in. You won't have all the answers.
You won't.
But you just have a guide, you know, and you really have to keep your ear to the guide.
Steps of a good man.
They're ordered.
They're ordered.
Well, do you have anything to say? That I was tossing it back to you.
Oh, this has been good. It's been encouraging. I number one, the courage. We've said everything, really. Now the reality is just go. Do it. If you're in the right time.
Yeah. But the biggest thing is, don't be afraid.
Yep.
if there's one phrase that is said over and 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 over in scripture, don't be afraid. Be not afraid.
Be not afraid.
Be not afraid. Be not afraid. I'm with you. You know, and that's something that, you know, even I was praying last night. I've been all over the place. You know, honestly, I'm guilty of that. Like this transition has been rough and it's been hard, you know, and I was praying last night, like, God, I know I've been super distracted, you know, but I know this is something I can't do without you. I can't. You got me out here. Now I can't get out here and try to do this on my own because I'm really gonna mess up. You know, so that's my word to anybody who's in a space of pivoting. You know, it's not necessarily going to be easy. It's probably not going to be easy, but it's 100% going to be worth it.
Absolutely.
It may be chaotic, but ultimately God is with you, and in the end, you're going to be okay.
And don't forget the practical stuff. Like, I think one of the things that I know that you do often is that you'll make a list when it's like high pressure, make a list.
Yeah.
I think that when people are pivoting, just to add to it, we sometimes forget, let's do the practical thing. Let's do those small things, because number one, it keeps you on track. It keeps you moving, but also you better look at that to-do list and say, hey, you know what? I may not feel like things are happening, but I'm checking things off little by little.
Yeah,
so
and you
keep
need
the
that.
practicality. Yeah, got to have that.
You need that to be able to say, hey, I'm okay. Things feel crazy right now, but I got this done today. And I think that's the best place to land, baby. One day at a time.
One day.
I don't know how I messed around and got so old so fast. But, you know, old folks used to say, just keep on living, baby.
Living. Just keep living.
You, baby, life is hard.
Living. Yeah. Just keep living.
But you know what? At the end of the day got to
end. Thank you,
You know, one day at a time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah. Make sure you like, subscribe. We're going to be back. We have a great season ahead. Episodes are going to be dropping bi-weekly, so make sure you got those notifications on. And I can't wait to see you guys again. I can't wait to hear from you. Let me know what you think of the episode. Let me know in the comments. Bye, y'all. Till next time.